Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes? In those labs, making sure the products you use or the food you eat, even medical tests, are actually reliable. How do they make sure their work is accurate, consistent, trustworthy? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain. We're taking a deep dive into laboratory management systems. Specifically, we'll focus on the big one, the international standard ISO/IE CIBILO 20205.2017, our mission. To give you a shortcut, really, to understanding what makes a lab truly competent, what framework guides them, and how that all translates into confidence for you. We'll unpack this using a really interesting conversation between a lab director, Dr. Anya Sharma, and her quality manager, Mr. Ben Carter, alongside insights from expert training materials.
Yeah, and what's so interesting now is just how vital these systems are becoming. Our complex world, it's not just lab coats and beakers. It's really the bedrock of scientific integrity, public trust even.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea then. A laboratory management system, or LMS,
Yeah.
at its core, what is it?
Right, so an LMS, it's basically a formal system, a set of processes, procedures, and it's all designed to ensure quality, efficiency, accuracy in all the lab operations. Think of it like the complete blueprint for how a lab should run.
So it covers everything, not just the actual testing part.
Exactly. Everything. From the hands-on technical stuff like the testing and calibration itself to, the admin side, document control, record keeping, and the really crucial quality assurance like monitoring, reviewing performance, the whole picture.
Okay, that sounds comprehensive. So what's the big payoff then? Why is it so vital for a lab to go through all the effort of setting up and maintaining this?
Oh, it's essential for several reasons, really. First, delivering accurate and reliable results. That's paramount, obviously. Then there's ensuring customer satisfaction, consistently meeting their expectations. And critically, maintaining regulatory compliance. It really reduces the risk of things going wrong, of non-compliance. It builds confidence, fundamentally.
That makes perfect sense. Now, you mentioned ISO/IE 17025.2017. Is this the specific standard that gives labs that framework for an LMS?
Yes, that's the one. ISO/IE 17025.2017. It's the internationally recognized standard. It outlines all the general requirements for labs to operate confidently, impartially, and consistently.
So what's its main focus? What makes it stand out compared to maybe other quality standards?
Its primary focus is squarely on the technical competence of the lab. So does the lab have the right people, the right equipment, the right procedures to actually produce accurate, reliable results? That's the core question. It also heavily emphasizes impartiality, making sure results aren't influenced by outside pressures,
Right.
and consistency. So results are reproducible time after time.
Okay, technical competence, impartiality, that sounds key. But this raises a really important question I hear a lot. What's the difference between a lab getting accredited to 17005 versus an organization getting certified to something like, say, ISO 9001? They sound similar.
That's a great question and an important distinction. Accreditation for ISO/IE 17025 is formal recognition by an accredited body. They're saying, yes, this laboratory meets the standards requirements, focusing specifically on its technical competence to perform specific tests or calibrations.
So it's about proving they can do the science correctly.
Exactly. Whereas certification, like for ISO 9001, usually recognizes that an organization as a whole has implemented a management system meeting certain requirements. It's broader, focused on the overall management system, not necessarily the specific technical ability of a lab within that organization.
I see. Okay, so who typically uses 2725 then? Is it just for certain very specialized labs?
No, not at all. It's used by a huge range of labs across many, many industries. Think testing labs, materials, food, medical tests, calibration labs, making sure instruments like thermometers or scales are accurate, environmental labs. Basically, any lab doing testing, calibration, or even sampling activities can and often should use this standard.
Right, technical competence and impartiality, absolutely critical for all those areas. So for a lab wanting to implement this, what are the main components? What are the requirements of ISO/IE 17025 they need to tackle?
Well, the standard is pretty comprehensive. It's structured into 8 main clauses, plus 2 informative annexes. It covers a lot of ground.
Okay, let's maybe walk through those a bit.
Sure. So we start with the fundamental general requirements, things like impartiality, which we mentioned, confidentiality, ethical behavior. Basic but crucial. Then you have structural requirements, looking at the lab's organization. Is it set up properly? And resource requirements. This is big. It covers personnel, their competence, training, the facilities, the equipment, its calibration, maintenance.
Okay, so the people and the tools, what's next?
Then come the process requirements. This gets into the nitty-gritty of the actual testing and calibration work. Things like how samples are handled, how tests are performed, how data is analyzed and reported, all the technical steps. And finally, the management requirements. These are about the system itself. Document control, keeping good records, internal audits, handling corrective actions, preventive actions, and management reviews, keeping the system healthy.
And those annexes you mentioned, what's their role?
They're informative, so not mandatory requirements, but they give really helpful guidance. For example, on metrological traceability, linking measurements back to standards, and also on implementing the management system itself, including things like risk-based thinking. It's a really well-rounded structure, helps labs cover all their bases.
That does sound incredibly thorough. So beyond just understanding these parts, what are the essential practices, for actually building and crucially maintaining a robust system day to day?
Right, putting into practice, that's key. And interestingly, these practices align well with both 17025 and also ISO 9001.2015 principles.
Okay, so here's where it gets really practical. What's the first essential practice you'd highlight?
I'd say first and foremost, risk-based thinking and management. It's fundamental now. Labs need to systematically identify potential risks, assess them, and then manage them proactively across everything: personnel, equipment, processes, even environmental factors.
So thinking ahead about what could go wrong.
Exactly. Identifying potential hazards, thinking about how likely they are, what the impact could be, and then prioritizing what to address first.
So what are some of those strategies then? How do you actually mitigate those risks once you've identified them?
Well, it includes things like ensuring staff get adequate training, regular equipment calibration and maintenance, can't stress that enough, having really clear standard operating procedures, SOPs, implementing quality control measures, like running known samples, and having emergency plans. What do you do if the power goes out? And importantly, it's not a one-off. You need continuous improvement. Regularly reviewing those risk plans. Are they still relevant? Are there new risks?
Makes sense. Okay, what's next on the essential practices list?
Second, definitely documentation control and record keeping. It might sound dry, but it's vital. You need clear procedures for everything related to documents. How they're created, approved, distributed, reviewed, stored, even how they're eventually disposed of.
Why is that so critical?
It ensures consistency, traceability. It makes sure everyone is using the correct version of a procedure or method, avoids confusion and errors.
And the records part?
Records. They are the proof. They must be accurate, complete, legible, and kept confidential. You need defined retention periods. How long do you keep them? And secure storage. They're absolutely essential for demonstrating compliance and, frankly, for investigating if anything ever does go wrong.
Okay, risk management, docs, and records. What's the third core practice?
Thirdly, internal audits and management reviews. These are non-negotiable for a healthy system. Internal audits are like a systematic checkup. They assess if you're actually following your own procedures and the standard. They identify nonconformities, areas for improvement. They check if the system is effective.
And then you act on those findings.
Absolutely. Following audits, you have to implement corrective actions, fixing what went wrong, and preventive actions, stopping it from happening again. Addressing the root cause is key.
And the management review, how does that fit in?
The management review is a periodic, high-level look at the entire system. Top management gets involved. They evaluate the system's overall effectiveness, looking at audit results, customer feedback, trends, resource needs, opportunities for improvement. It's where strategic decisions about the LMS are made.
That covers the management system side really well.
Oh.
But you stressed earlier that ISO 19025 really focuses strongly on technical competence. How do labs ensure that?
Right. That's the heart of 17025. On the technical side, it boils down to about 4 key areas. First, personnel competence, making sure your staff have the right education, qualifications, training, skills, and experience for the work they do. It's not just hiring. It involves ongoing assessment, maybe proficiency testing, and continuous professional development. People need to stay sharp.
Makes sense. People first. What else?
Second, equipment calibration and maintenance. You need a rigorous program, regular calibration against traceable standards, a preventive maintenance schedule, keeping detailed records of all this, and ensuring the equipment is used in the right environmental conditions. You can't trust results from faulty or uncalibrated equipment. Simple as that.
Okay.
People, equipment. Third, measurement traceability. It's a bit technical, but crucial. It means relating your measurement results back to national or international standards through an unbroken chain of comparisons. You do this using certified reference standards, documented calibration procedures, understanding the measurement uncertainty. It ensures results are comparable no matter where they're produced.
Like proving the pedigree of your measurement.
Exactly like that. A documented lineage right back to the source standard. And fourth, environmental conditions. Labs need to monitor control factors like temperature, humidity, vibration, dust, electromagnetic interference, whatever might affect the results. Maintaining a clean, suitable environment is critical for accuracy and reliability.
It's incredibly clear how detailed and demanding 17025 is on its own. So, bringing this together, what happens when we look at it alongside another major quality standard, like ISO 9001.2015? Can they work together effectively?
Oh, absolutely. They're distinct, yes, but they are very much interconnected standards. They complement each other extremely well. You see, ISO 9001.2015 is a broader quality management system standard. It applies to any type of organization, focusing on overall management, customer focus, leadership, the process approach.
Right, the general framework for quality management.
Exactly. Whereas ISO IE 17025, as we've been discussing, is laser focused on testing and calibration labs, really drilling down into that technical competence aspect.
What's really interesting, though, is how much they seem to share, even with those different focuses.
Precisely. And that's become even clearer with the latest versions. Both standards emphasize risk-based thinking. They both require effective documentation control, accurate record keeping. They both mandate regular internal audits and periodic management reviews. And they align on key principles like customer focus, leadership commitment, continuous improvement. The overlap is significant.
So what are the real benefits then? If a lab decides, okay, we're going to implement both, what's the upside? Is it worth the effort?
The synergistic benefits are substantial, honestly. Combining them helps labs streamline their processes. You can reduce redundancy. Why have two separate systems for things they both require? This leads to enhanced efficiency. It definitely improves overall quality, which means more accurate, reliable results. That's the core business.
And presumably better customer confidence, too.
Definitely boosts customer satisfaction. It also helps meet a wider range of regulatory requirements, which lowers compliance risks. Ultimately, it builds a much stronger foundation for the lab's operations and enhances its reputation and credibility.
So it's like 9001 provides the solid overall structure.
Yes, exactly. ISO 9001 gives you that solid foundation for a well-structured management system. And then ISO IEC 3022D5 builds right on top of that, adding the specific, rigorous technical competence requirements needed for lab work. It's a powerful combination.
Okay, but how do labs avoid just doubling the paperwork and bureaucracy? How can they handle those overlapping requirements practically?
That's about smart integration. You leverage the commonalities. For instance, use a single document control system that meets the requirements of both standards. Implement a combined internal audit program audit against both sets of requirements at the same time where possible. Conduct a single integrated management review that covers aspects relevant to both 9001 and 17025. It's about working smarter, not harder, and creating one cohesive system.
This has been a fantastic deep dive today. We've really explored the ins and outs of the ISO IEC 19025.2017 laboratory management system. We looked at its core parts, the essential practices needed to make it work, and how it really clicks together powerfully with ISO 9001. It's become so clear that a truly well-managed lab isn't just about great science. It's about this comprehensive system ensuring accuracy, reliability, and ultimately trust.
Yeah, and if you think about the bigger picture, what this means is when you see a product with a quality mark or you get a test result from an accredited lab, you're not just looking at a logo or a piece of paper. You're seeing the result of a really meticulously designed, constantly checked, and continually improved system. It's built on those core principles. Competence, impartiality, consistency. That result has earned its credibility.
Which leads to a final thought for you, our listener. Knowing the depth and rigor involved here, how does this understanding affect your confidence? Your confidence in the products, the services, the information you rely on daily? And maybe think about how those principles like risk-based thinking or meticulous documentation or even measurement traceability, how might they apply to ensuring quality and reliability in your own work or even your personal life? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.